podcast. We are joined by none other than Kansas coach Bill Self. And Bill, first of all, I want to take you back. Like, you are the first and only coach ever to put the triangle on two on Robbie Hummel. Is that correct? Like, what the hell were you tking back in the NCAA tournament?
Well, first of all, I'd say I'm the first and only coach that's agreed to come on this podcast, but that's not it. What were we thinking? I tell you what, I could go back and Robbie will remember this, because our teams, talent-wise, Robbie, I think you would probably agree, were very comparable. We had a really good player. You guys had a really good player in yourself, and your complimentary guys. I mean, one or two of them played in the league, if I'm not mistaken. And same with us.
Before, Coach. This year was more so we just had a bunch of guys that could shoot.
Yeah,
we had a bunch of guys that could really shoot it.
But you had who's the kid that played for the Celtics?
The year before we had Etuan Moore and Juwan Johnson.
But they weren't there that year.
They had left. Yeah. But it was a bunch of guys that could make threes.
And yeah, they could really make threes. And it was a terrible matchup for us. I told our guys, because we played two traditional bigs.
Right.
And I told our guys, and one of them was Jeff Withey, who ended up having an unbelievable NCAA tournament. He was unbelievable. He blocked more shots that tournament than any player in the history of the NCAA tournament. And so we had him, and then we had our stud was Thomas Robinson. But Thomas ran downhill to offense and uphill to defense. I mean, all the time. And so you were matched up on him. And we told him, hey, this white boy will bust your ass. We told him that. And if I'm not mistaken, first possession of the game,
wide open three.
Uncontested three. And I was so livid. And you were thinking, oh, my God, that basket got big and everything else. And you guys totally controlled the game. And then I don't know when we did, but in the second half, we either went man and put a guard on you, Travis Relaford, or we went triangle and two.
You did both. I mean, I got everybody. I saw every dude on your team: Elijah Johnson, Tyson Taylor, every Relaford, all of them.
Yeah, and what happened was you guys still controlled the game until like the last 3 minutes, and maybe the most athletic play, one of the most athletic plays that we had since I've been here, was Elijah Johnson, who was our leaper, threw a half-court lob pass. Half court in transition.
Down one with like two to play.
Up one with like 2 to play. Through a half court lob pass in transition to Tyshawn Taylor, our point guard, and he caught it and dunked it. Yeah. And that was basically. Then you guys, I think, had a three at the end, but didn't get off a good look. But that was a great game. I would be curious. You were terrific, and of course, coming off your knee stuff, that made it even more respectable, but I would be interested to hear your take, if we get a chance to get to it, on Matt, because I think Matt, having played him later, does the best job at misdirection and things like that to feed the post.
Totally. I mean, they're running guys off pro cuts to feed it in at the top of the key so you can't trap them. And you saw that with Isaac Haas a ton. Like, that's what they ran. They'd run those shooters off it, and they've got those guys really, really good post position.
But with Swanigan, we played them in the Sweet 16.
I watched from Moscow.
Yeah, but we played unreal in that game in Sweet 16. But we played them, but they did the best job at screening their own man, getting them on the high side. Because we've always played two bigs up until the last 3 or 4 years, and I've thought we've taken great pride in getting angles and stuff like that. But I think that he does the best job. I studied his stuff. I thought he did a great job feeding the post.
Coach, do you think that you can still play two bigs like in today's era?
I do. I think you can, but the one of them got to be able to stretch it though. If we were to play like Thomas Robinson and Jeff Withey, wouldn't work. Thomas could shoot to 15, Jeff maybe to 15, but I don't think it'd work as well. And then I've always thought when we played two bigs and three on the perimeter, 2 of the 3 on the perimeter have to be able to shoot. Mm. Now that would be 2 out of 4 if you play two bigs. Right. Now you play 4 guards and 3 of the 4 have to be able to shoot. And if you play 4 that can shoot, you probably got a pretty damn good offensive team. But I think you could. And what we've recruited, I think moving forward, maybe we can, because we recruited a couple of kids that we feel like maybe pretty good players from beyond the arc. But it's hard. The game's changed so much in the last 6 or 7 years, at least on the collegiate level.
So what does it feel like? I mean, I don't know if you looked at the top 25, but like, it's the first time you haven't been in it since, it feels like 1940. mean,
it's actually, I can tell you when we the year after we won it in 09, we were ranked, and we went to Michigan State and got beat 30 at Michigan State, and we fell out for a couple of weeks, and then we ended up being a 4 seed. We ended up having a good year and go in the Sweet 16, but it's been since 2009, and I don't even know if we've been in the top 20. I mean, that's top 20 or top 15 since 2009. So yeah, it doesn't feel great not to be in there, but it also feels, kind of cool to know that, it's a pretty big deal to people around here that we're not. So that we've been pretty spoiled here with a lot of good players over the years.
Coach, are you surprised that you guys are 15-7 from what you thought about this team at the start of the year?
No. When you open up with Gonzaga, there's a good chance that's 1. when you play Tennessee at Tennessee, there's a good chance that's 2. Not saying it should be, but there's a good chance. And then you look at it. Okay, so you play at OU and you play at Baylor. And who else we'd lose to in the league? We play at West Virginia.
Texas at home. Texas at home was the one that I think shocked everybody, right?
Yeah, but they were really good. I mean, they got a good team, guys. If they got 3 guys on the perimeter that can all stretch it, if they're on and you play around those 3 bigs, they're good. But our schedule, Robbie, has been a monster. I mean, if you look at it, if you say, okay, you got Gonzaga, Kentucky, and Creighton all in the first, and West Virginia and Texas Tech all in the first. If you could get through that with 1 loss, that's ridiculously good. Sure. And we did. So 15-7. Maybe it could be 17-5. Maybe it could be 16-6. But I'm not sure. I'm not being negative. I'm just being realistic. We lost a lot last year. I'm not sure that this is a team whose record would be great at this point, because like Toby Keith said, I'm a good once. I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm as good once as I ever was. That's kind of like us right now. Over a stretch of time, we're not going to sustain that, but from one game we could play to a really, really high level, I think.
So I tweeted it out early. I think like maybe after your first game, even maybe it was that Gonzaga game. I don't remember, but I tweeted out like, this Kansas team just doesn't have Kansas talent. They just don't. And your fans, now again, it's a segment of the fan base, right? It's Twitter Kansas fans went bananas on me. They're like, you're out of your mind. You're wrong. This, that, and the other. And my whole deal to them was, listen, the NCAA investigation has caught up with you guys in terms of recruiting and the talent. And it maybe didn't for the last couple of years because you were able to get Dotson and Doak and those guys. How much do you feel like that's the case?
Well, the NCAA investigation has caught up to us right after we signed Devon's class. It was Devon, Quentin Grimes, and David McCormick. And so we've had 2.5 recruiting classes since then. That has been, it's been hard. I mean, everybody goes through crap, and nobody's going to feel sorry for us because we're going through crap. But it's been more difficult. I mean, there's been a lot of players that I think that we've been right there to get. That was a deciding factor. At least based on what we've been told. Now, that doesn't mean positively we would have got them, but it means positively that we didn't get them because of it. So, and if you look around America, those are guys that are difference makers on national contenders. Yeah, it's hurt us, but nobody's going to feel sorry for us. The thing about it is, Jeff, and I think Robbie would agree to this to an extent. You lost Eton Moore and Johnson, that the guy who had an unbelievable. He may have been Big Ten Player of the Year, if I'm not mistaken.
He was. Okay. He was Big Ten Player of the Year. If you want.
Okay, so you lost those guys, and your senior year. So did expectations change?
I would say yes.
Okay, but
the tournament became like good.
But at Kansas, they don't. At Kansas, they don't.
That's what's one thing we don't. We lost 5 starters, I think, 3 times and won the league the next year.
Right.
So it's been like faces change, but expectations don't. So from a coach's
standpoint, to me, Bill, when I look at your team, I say, like, you don't have that dude. And you and I talked in the offseason, and I remember you trying to convince me that Marcus Garrett was going to be really good at the point guard spot. And I was like, I just want to see it because he's not a true point. He's not a
he's
two.
Not. He's really good though.
He's really good. But he's
really
not
good.
a guy who gets guys easy shots. And that's what your team needs.
No. But the way that we've gotten easy shots in the past, we could play above the rim. We could do some different things. It's amazing in basketball, and Robbie understands this. The most subtle little things make such a difference in how you play, your schemes, and if you're any good. For instance, when we won the national championship in 2008, we had three big guys: Sasha Khan, Darnell Jackson, and the best one was Drell Arthur. He was a fabulous college player. I mean, great. And those guys could, back then, nobody downed the ball screens. Everybody hedged them. And Robbie knows this. And so back then, if you could sprint and create separation in setting a ball screen, it always forced a situation where it was a loose hedge and good guards could dominate that. Mm-hmm. The next year, our big guy was Cole Aldridge. He couldn't create any separation. We're like, our ball, what is wrong with us? We can't go anywhere. Sharon Collins doesn't have any space. We got no game. And it was because Cole couldn't create separation off that. So that's one tweak we had to do to change how we play just because of that one situation. And it's the same way. Like when you have Doak last year, who was maybe, he's proven through the combine, and I guys, I'm sure you heard about that gruesome injury he just had, but it's so sad. But and Frank got hurt last night or the night before too. So his groin. But it's so sad for those guys. But Doak was a guy that if you left to go guard Marcus, he threw it up and he dunked it. Now they don't leave. They can leave to go guard Marcus. So now, before Marcus was scoring over 6'3", 6'5" guard in the paint. Now he's scoring over 6'3", 6'5" guard with the big guy coming to help. And the shots just aren't there as much. It's not Marcus. Marcus's play had a great year. Marcus is it's unbelievable defensively what he does. I mean, it's like we stunk yesterday at Iowa State offensively, but Bolton scores 2 points on him. He scores 2. He got more on other people, but we switched so much. But he's had a really good, solid year. But he doesn't have that guy with him that can take some pressure off of him right now.
Let me tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at BetRivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with BetRivers yet, now is the time. BetRivers Sportsbook is offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. But what sets them apart? They require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. When you win at BetRivers Sportsbook, they pay fast. And now it's even faster with Rush Pay instant approval for withdrawals. It's safe, it's secure, it's reliable. With March Madness right around the corner, there's never been a better time to give BetRivers Sportsbook a try. Go to BetRivers.com today or download the app. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So give me let's turn it to something more upbeat, more fun for a minute. Give me your greatest Joel Embiid story. What's the story? I mean, listen, he's got that personality that just lights up a room. But when you recruited him, I remember Rick Pitino was the first one who told me when you got him, he's like, Joel Embiid is and this was early when he wasn't even really playing for that Florida team. He was like, he's the best player in the country in this class. Yeah. I'm like, now, Rick, you never know what you're going to get. Like, Rick can change his mind 42 times within an hour. So I'm like, yeah, whatever. What's your favorite Joel story?
Well, I don't know, but the dude is at the time. Well, I hope he's changed. And I think he has. He says he has.
Yeah.
But he lived on Nutella. That's all he ate.
Really?
Yeah. Like he would eat the wives liked him so much, and he knew how to kiss up to them and make them all love him and everything. And he was pretty smooth, and so they make him anything he wanted. So brownies, all that stuff all the time. That's all he ate. Terrible nutrition habits. We tried to change them, but I don't know that we did that much. But he would go to a local bar. They tell me, bar owners would tell me, go to a local bar and have 17 Shirley Temples at the bar, and didn't drink, just hang out, buy everybody, whatever, but he'd have Shirley Temples everywhere. But he would tell people, part of his tribal initiation was wrestling the lion, stuff like that. And people would actually buy it. But I will tell you this, the very first practice we had with him, we had Tari Black was a good player. He played in the league for a while. He's still playing. Right? Yeah. And he was a fourth year senior, graduating 3 years from Memphis. And so he came, and so he's a grad transfer, and Joel's in, and we thought those two would kind of probably, kind of share minutes, plus one of them could play the four at the same time. So get them both about 25 a game, maybe something like that. And first practice, Joel's just getting his butt kicked, and Tari just spinning him around like a rag doll. And Joel came up to me after practice. He said, "Coach, you're going to have to redshirt me, aren't you?" I said, "No, Joel, you're going to be the first pick in the draft this year." But that was kind of how he was. And I'd say Robbie will appreciate this. We run a lot of ball screen stuff, and this is the first week he's here, and I'm just amazed at his intellect. I'm amazed at his intellect. I'm amazed at all these international kids' intellect. Here we are thinking we're bright, and they speak 4 languages. But it just amazes me. But there was a loose ball going in the backcourt, and Joel's man went for the loose ball. And you got a player coming downhill now that's being guarded by his man that went for the loose ball too. So the 5-man was out of play. And Joe immediately just leaves, the top of the key or free throw line area, and goes and set a butt screen at half court. And I knew why he did it. And I said, "Joe, explain to everybody why you did that." He said, "Coach, my defender was behind him. There's no way anybody could help." For a guy that just picked up basketball and been playing for a year, he kind of got it he picked up pretty quick.
Coach, I played with Andrew Wiggins his rookie year, and Andrew is like the nicest, most laid back.
Yeah.
What was it like coaching him and trying to bring out like the best in him? Because I know that other people have really struggled. Great guy,
first of all, people forget what a I don't want to say great, but what a really good career he's had. The dude's averaging over 20 for his career. Totally. And this, Andrew would say stuff like this. You Americans, you just don't get it just because Canadians are polite, because he'll say, "Pardon me," or "Excuse me," every time, he knocks somebody down, "Excuse me." Well, he didn't do that often, but he was the nicest, sweetest. The thing that I used to do with Andrew is try to piss him off a lot. And he had a trigger that you could get to. He had a trigger that after Marcus Smart and those guys at Oklahoma State beat us, he had a trigger to get to that he can come back and get 30. He had a trigger they can get to when he went to West Virginia, and he's playing, Huntington Prep is close to Morgantown. And so his Huntington Prep people would come to, not Huntington Prep. Was it Huntington Prep? Geez, I forgot. I think it was. It was Huntington Prep. Okay. So that's in Huntington Prep is where, I guess it's in Huntington, West Virginia. Is that not right? Where Marshall is.
That would make sense.
Yeah. So where Marshall is. And so that's not far from Morgantown. So he had all his people come back to that game. And you know what? He goes and gets 41. But there were the games where he would just fit in and float and do all that stuff. And
he was Bill, even the Stanford game that you guys lost in the second round of the tournament, he had like 6 points, didn't he?
Yeah, but I don't remember probably, but he was the most fun, sweetest kid to coach, but he drove me a little nuts because I couldn't get him consistently to have that assassin mentality.
He would do practice, coach, where you would be like, I've never seen anybody like jump stop and jump away from the rim and just hammer it. Shit where you're like, I've never seen anybody do that before. He's so athletic.
He made a play that against K-State, and this may not may not mean much, but he ran down and missed a shot. This is right before overtime. We were down 2. He came down and he missed a shot, and his right foot on the right side of the rim landed out of bounds. Okay, landed out of bounds, and without a step, he landed. Didn't even squat. Didn't have to squat to jump, as you know. He landed, and then he tipped it in on the left side of the rim, back in front of the rim, without a step or anything. I mean, it was just like boom, boom. And it's like, oh my God. I mean, it was just, those are things you can't coach, and you never will be able to. But he could do some things like that you would just go, oh my gosh, he's different. He's different in that regard.
His rookie year, we were posting him against LeBron, and he was scoring. And it was like, man, there's nobody. It was like a sold-out game, only sold-out game of the year at the Target Center because we suck so bad. And the Heat are in town, or he's on the Cavs now. Cavs are in town, and Andrew's like, man, he's posting them and hitting fadeaways over him. It's like, damn, like there's not many people that do this to LeBron James. Like,
but see, there was something about that. I could be wrong on this. I don't believe LeBron ever acknowledged him as number 1 pick when LeBron went to.
There was definitely.
Yeah,
right.
And so the whole thing was it was a great trade for Cavaliers. I'm not saying anything negative,
sure.
But if he needs something like that he was traded for Kevin Love, because the appearance is LeBron wanted to play with Kevin Love and not Andrew.
Right.
And the appearance was, whether that's true or not, that's the appearance. And so he always played good against Cleveland, didn't he?
Yeah, the 2 games. I mean, we were in the West, but the 2 games we played him, he played really well. He was definitely, he had something extra there on those games.
Yeah, but he's one of those guys that needs that. I'm really hopeful with the Warriors. You know, he can kind of settle in as that. You know, he would be the 3rd option. Which if he's their 3rd option, that would be fantastic. But I guess
talent-wise, that's sick. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but since Clay's got hurt, but I think he'll have he'll get his 20 and the other thing about us, Robbie, he was our best defender, but I don't know that he's got a reputation of being a good defender at your level. But for us, he was. I mean, I thought he was the best defender in the league as far as guarding his man. Now, he'd never run through a pass. He'd never do those things. But just as far as locking in, I thought he took a lot of pride in that back in college.
So, Bill, the big question everybody wants to know right now is why the Blue Bloods are struggling as much as they are. I'm sure you've been asked it before, right? I mean, you got Kentucky really struggling, Michigan State on track not to go to the tournament, Duke might or might not be in the tournament. You guys aren't traditionally what you've been. Do you have an answer for this?
Well, I think I actually think that a team that's really struggling playing the schedule we played means that we still have a good team. We just don't have an elite team yet. I think with others that rely on the one and done more, it's harder because you're recruiting good. You're recruiting well. There's no question about that. But you're recruiting well and throwing a kid in the mix without any preparation at all. I mean, the summers have been really important for young kids, and you take that away. And then I think you're coaching differently this year. I know I am, as far as, you're demanding, but there's more important things in life than basketball. It's more evident to me than it ever has been. And I hate to say this, and fan base may not like it, but the winning to me doesn't seem quite as important this particular year as it has all the other years, because you have everything else that's going on. You're worried about kids, depression, mental health. You're worried about things that you never worried about, even though you should. You don't really worry about those things. And so, how demanding you can be, just, hey, I'm done with you. Go set. And when I get less tired of you, I'll put you back in the game. Or that may be 2 weeks from now. You can't say that now. You can't. Kids are too. I don't think that kids are too fragile. Our society right now is so fragile. We're fragile. Coaches are fragile. It's like a situation where I told myself before the season started, I'm going to roll with it. I am not going to get upset. I'm not going to worry. The players aren't going to see me one time get upset about things that I can't control. Now, they can see me get upset about play, but about things I can't control. And and it's just different. So we played Iowa State yesterday, and I feel so bad for those guys, because guys, they've been close to win some games, and they haven't been able to practice. They haven't had their full complement of players. They've had to travel a ridiculous way because of COVID protocol. It is just different. And you put yourself in a situation where you maybe don't give your team the best chance to win, but that's not the most important thing that day. Give them the best chance to win. The most important thing is being safe and healthy. So it to me, it has diminished it. I don't believe the interest level, now that granted, postseason it'll pick up like nobody ever, just like the Super Bowl, it'll pick up like nobody ever skipped the beat. But right now it's just different. You got Baylor, who's paused for 5 games. They're paused for 5 games in a year that they can win a national championship. I mean, think about that. So in February, you're going to take a team out for 5 games and not practice. It's just a different time. So we're trying to get to the finish line, but as we get closer to the finish line, I'm sure the emotions and everything will get amped back up.
Last question, Bill.
Oh, I didn't answer your question. But the primary reason is I think you rely on one and dones, you recruit well, but the kids that recruit well, that don't get preparation, aren't as prepared or as good as the ones that are juniors or seniors, that when they miss something, they don't skip a beat. That's what I would say about that. So
last question I got for you, Bill. Just what's this year been like for you? I mean, obviously you've been going through this NCAA stuff for a few years now. You add the pandemic to it. You add the fact that you're not winning at the level you're used to winning. Mental health wise for you, like, what's it been like?
Well, yeah, you also have all the social injustice things that's going on, everything. I think it's been a great opportunity to lead. I do. I mean, would I rather not be dealing with any of it? Absolutely. But it's also during the toughest times or the most unique times that gives a person the best opportunity to lead too. I had a friend of mine send me, anybody can hold the helm when the ship is calm. That's kind of like it is. And right now with us and with many across America, the sea's not calm. I mean, when the sea is calm, anybody can hold the helm. So it's not calm. We got rough waters. And so those that can kind of roll with it and keep guys interested, motivated, things like that, I think are the ones that are probably having the most success. And you look across America and you can tell different energy levels at different places. So many like us depend on maybe outside influences to help energize us, and which is the crowd and things like that. You don't get that. And now you have to create your own. And some people are used to doing that. And some people haven't done that in a while, so it's been different. But for me personally, it's been okay. There's not more on our plate that we can't handle.
What's the NCAA timeline now? Do you have one?
I don't know that we have a definite one. I would hope that something will be complete by, by the fall, something like that, complete. But, I don't know. I'm not in on the know and all that stuff, but I'm looking forward to our opportunity. There's no question about that to speak it out.
Well, listen, we appreciate you taking a few on Valentine's Day here. Rob will send you some flowers for putting that.
I'm glad that Jeff dressed up for you, Coach. His white tee looks really good.
Yeah, I'm glad he did too. But Robbie, I prefer chocolates. Okay.
There you have it. All right. Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
All right.
Safe, Coach. Good to see you.
All right. See you guys.